Welcome back. Today we're beginning an exploration of Lesson 344. It fundamentally reshapes how we understand the whole concept of giving.
It does.
It lays out a very specific principle.
It calls it the law of love.
And the central statement of that law is that what we extend to our brother becomes the very gift we experience ourselves.
Yesterday's lesson gave us the foundation for this. It said that God's peace never asks us to give anything up.
So there's no sacrifice required to receive love.
And today, Lesson 344 takes that certainty and applies it directly to how we interact with each other.
So we're moving from a principle of non-sacrifice into the actual act of giving.
We are.
So the giving described here isn't about objects or time in the usual sense.
Giving is simply the recognition of unity.
Before we go any further, we do want to say that we're here walking this path of practice right alongside you.
And if you ever want to share your own experiences or insights as you integrate these lessons, please feel free to reach out to us.
You can email us at acim@theworldharmonyproject.org.
Let's prepare our minds now and settle in to listen closely to the words of Lesson 344 itself.
Today I learned the law of love, that what I give my brother is my gift to me. This is your law, my father, not my own. I have not understood what giving means and thought to save what I desired for myself alone. And as I looked upon the treasure that I thought I had, I found an empty place where nothing ever was or is or will be. Who can share a dream? And what can an illusion offer me? Yet he whom I forgive will give me gifts beyond the worth of anything on earth. Let my forgiven brothers fill my store with heaven's treasures, which alone are real. Thus is the law of love fulfilled, and thus your son arises and returns to you.
How near we are to one another as we go to God. How near is he to us? How close the ending of the dream of sin and the redemption of the Son of God.
That opening line, the law of love, it sets up an immediate conflict with how the world operates.
It does. The world sees giving as a transfer of limited resources. Money, time, energy, attention. It's all finite.
If I give you $10, I have $10 less.
If I give you an hour of my time, that's 1 hour I don't have for myself.
And that automatically creates a sense of loss or sacrifice.
Even if the act itself feels loving, the underlying assumption is scarcity. There's only so much to go around.
Which naturally leads to things like resistance or even resentment, a desire to hoard.
Of course, you're constantly trying to balance this wish to be generous with the ego's rulebook, which says generosity diminishes you.
But the Course is presenting a completely different model.
It says that when you give a true spiritual gift, forgiveness, peace, acceptance, it's not depletion.
It's extension.
It's extension. When you extend peace, you're actually recognizing that peace is already inside you.
And sharing it multiplies it. It doesn't divide it.
Exactly. I think the key here is what is being given.
If it's something material and finite, depletion happens. That's a physical law.
But love or forgiveness, if the gift is a state of mind, then the act of giving it is the proof that you have it.
The gift becomes the recognition of that reality.
And recognizing reality can't possibly diminish it. If you extend forgiveness, you're proving to your own mind that you are forgiving.
Your capacity for it isn't lessened, it's confirmed.
It's strengthened, which ties directly back to yesterday's lesson.
That what we think we're giving up, the grievance, the judgment, was never real in the first place.
So nothing of value is ever lost. What is eternal is what matters, and what is eternal is always shared.
Let's look at the ego's approach to this, which the lesson calls out. The line is, I have not understood what giving means and thought to save what I desired for myself alone.
And that's the ego's core strategy, isn't it?
Yeah.
It tells us security and worth are private assets. They have to be kept separate. The ego needs a private storehouse to define me against you. If happiness were just universal and shared, the separate competitive self couldn't exist.
So it convinces us that anything valuable, peace, insight, power, has to be protected.
Controlled. Kept exclusive.
And here's the irony that the lesson delivers so powerfully.
After all that hoarding.
You turn to look at your treasure and the lesson says, I found an empty place where nothing ever was or is or will be.
It means the source of security you thought you had, say, by holding a grievance or defending a judgment, was never there. It's non-existent.
This isn't some abstract philosophical void.
Not at all. It's the instability you can actually experience in your own defensive positions.
For example, holding on to a deep-seated judgment, maybe about a family member.
Judgment, that grievance, the ego treats it like a precious thing. It defines our story, it justifies our anger, it gives us the moral high ground.
So these positions, these grievances, they become defensive walls.
We clutch them because the ego promises they'll keep us safe or make us feel superior. They are our stored personal supply of worth.
But the moment you hold them up to any kind of honest light,
Their instability is glaring. You see it every day.
how quickly does that safety of a grievance just vanish when someone gives you an unexpected, genuine compliment?
Or how does that feeling of being right just collapse when your mood shifts or you get distracted by something else?
The security they offer is totally conditional. It's fleeting.
And that conditional quality is what proves the emptiness the lesson talks about. They can't offer you anything real because they require constant defense.
They're only real as long as you're actively pouring energy into maintaining them.
The second you stop defending them, the whole structure just falls apart. The investment was in an absence, not a presence.
And that realization leads us right into the next part of the lesson, the problem of illusion.
It asks, who can share a dream? And what can an illusion offer me?
If that hoard is empty and it's based on being defensive, then how can anything meaningful be shared inside that framework?
This line is just a devastating challenge to our normal idea of a shared reality.
We walk around thinking we're all in one objective, solid world.
But the Course is arguing that what we call the world is really just a collection of billions of individual private interpretations.
And each one is its own unique, separate dream.
This explains why conflict seems so inevitable. We assume we're all working from the same set of facts.
But the foundation itself isn't stable.
Because it's built on perception, which is nothing but interpretation.
You see the evidence for these separate dreams everywhere.
In the most ordinary situations, a simple family argument.
Two siblings remembering the exact same event from childhood.
And they describe it in completely opposite ways.
One remembers it as joyful, the other remembers it as terrifying.
And the actual event becomes irrelevant. What matters is the private meaning that was layered on top of it. Think about eyewitnesses to a car accident or a political rally. You get wildly different accounts.
People focus on different details, they assign different motives, different emotional weight. They weren't sharing one stable dream.
They were sharing a location, but experiencing it within their own private, filtered version of reality.
This applies to everything, how we see public figures.
Totally depends on the lens you bring. One person's hero is another's villain. Those qualities aren't in the person, they're projected. They rest on the private needs of the viewer.
And this is why illusions can't offer anything that lasts.
They can't give us a common foundation. They are, by their very nature, subjective and always shifting.
If my peace depends on my interpretation of things, it's basically doomed.
The moment your interpretation gains more strength, mine is threatened.
So that question, who can share a dream?
The answer is no one. Not really. Because the dream is fundamentally private. It's built to sustain the individual ego. It has no mechanism for true sharing.
So forgiveness has to be the way out.
If the problem is all these private interpretations, the filters, the grievances, then forgiveness is what releases them. It's about choosing to withdraw the personal meaning, the private story you attach to that act.
And the lesson makes a huge promise here. It says, "Yet he whom I forgive will give me gifts beyond the worth of anything on earth."
This is the payoff. As that layer of interpretation starts to fade, the filters that controlled our reactions are removed.
And we start to see each other, not through the distortion of our private dream,
but in a shared clarity.
This is what allows for what the Course calls a real meeting.
A shift from the isolation of private perception to a stable, shared awareness. And this is where the gifts of the lesson finally become visible.
To get a real sense of what shared clarity means, it helps to think back to something we've discussed before.
The experience of Dr. Jill Bolt Taylor.
Right, her account after her stroke. It's such a powerful illustration.
It gives us a neurological, almost physical example of what happens when That mechanism of private interpretation, the judging, analyzing, separating part of the brain, is switched off.
She described a feeling of connection without the usual dividing lines.
The sense of separation, physical and mental, just vanished. She was left with this overwhelming awareness of unity, the self blended with everything else.
And she mentioned an immediate understanding. It didn't rely on that slow, step-by-step mental analysis we normally use.
There was no need to interpret anything, because knowledge itself, that pure awareness of connection, was simply present.
It's a great way to frame what the Course means by knowledge versus perception.
Knowledge is what's there when all the interference, all the filters and judgments falls away. It's effortless and it's shared.
Her experience also really highlighted the link between judgment and separation.
She described this state of non-judgmental connection. The moment the part of her brain responsible for sorting, for labeling things good or bad, self or other, the moment that was suspended.
The sense of distance lost its power.
Because judgment is the ultimate defense of isolation. It's the ego's primary tool for reinforcing the boundaries of the private dream.
It keeps experience locked inside our own interpretations.
So it follows that when judgment fades, the distance we were defending has to lose its structure. Forgiveness works by releasing those very blocks, the interpretations, the judgments, that kept the mind isolated.
Forgiveness is just the decision to stop judging.
And in doing so, you allow the mind to return to its natural state, which is shared clarity.
So when the lesson talks about heaven's treasures being restored by forgiveness, these gifts are qualities that were always there, just obscured.
Peace, which is the end of conflict. Innocence, which is the release from guilt. And the awareness of unity.
The recognition that there's no outside to be afraid of.
Forgiveness is the act of clearing away the dust. It doesn't create the peace. It just reveals the peace that was hidden, allowing it to be experienced again.
And because these are states of mind, they are, by definition, shareable. They can be extended.
This realization of a shared reality brings the focus right back to our relationships.
As the lesson says, let my forgiven brothers fill my store with heaven's treasures, which alone are real.
It's emphasizing that the recognition of these gifts happens through our relationships with each other. When you release your brother from your story about him,
you free yourself to see the shared reality that was there all along.
The relationship itself becomes the classroom.
And the setting where these gifts, the peace and unity, are actually received, not just talked about.
My brother's forgiveness confirms my own. His peace is the proof that peace is possible for me.
And this mutual recognition leads into those beautiful concluding lines of the lesson.
The ones about nearness. How near we are to one another as we go to God. How near is He to us?
It's such a powerful statement about illusion.
The illusion of space and time. The Course is saying that the separation we feel, that profound distance from each other and from God, it was never real.
It was an elaborate construct of perception.
What seems so distant, unity, truth, God, is actually right here in the immediate present.
The only thing that made it seem far away was that dense layer of private interpretations we built up.
We believed the distance was real, that it's a fundamental part of existence. But as forgiveness clears away those blocks, the distance loses its structure.
And what is true and whole becomes easier to see.
The final message there, about the closeness of the dream's ending, also deserves some real attention.
How close the ending of the dream of sin.
Right. For many people, that word ending can be unsettling. We associate endings with loss or death.
Especially when the dream world, with all its flaws, is the only reality we think we know. It can sound like a threat.
That's a very understandable reaction. We invest so much of ourselves in the dream, our stories, our relationships.
But the Course is very specific here about what is ending.
It's not the loss of anything meaningful or real. It is, and this is the key, the fading of a mistaken perception.
It's the end of an error.
The end of an error, not the end of joy. The dream of sin is just a belief in separation and guilt. So its ending is simply the recognition of innocence and connection. The certainty it offers is absolute. It tells us we cannot fail.
That makes the path feel much more workable. It feels grounded.
It's a shared return. It's guaranteed, and it's supported by every single act of forgiveness.
And nothing real depends on our own effort or struggle.
It depends only on accepting the reality that is already whole.
And the lesson closes with that sense of a shared journey. We are walking together, recognizing our unity.
All of it supported by that law of love. The gifts we extend or the gifts we receive. And holding that awareness can carry you through the day.
So let's bring together the core insights from our exploration of Lesson 344.
The first, and most central, is the law of love. It stands in direct contrast to the world's idea of giving, which is all about sacrifice and depletion.
The Course shows us that giving is really an extension of the shared mind we all possess.
And then we looked at the ego strategy of hoarding, of trying to save things for the self alone.
Only to find, upon inspection, an empty place where nothing ever was or is or will be.
And that emptiness is the instability you feel when you defend a grievance or a private interpretation.
Those private interpretations are what build the dream world itself.
We explored that question, who can share a dream? And saw that we're mostly living in our own unique, shifting perceptions.
And forgiveness is the way out. It releases those interpretations and allows for a real shared meeting.
We talked about Dr. Jill Bolte-Taylor's experience as an example of that shared clarity.
What it feels like when the filters of judgment are gone and you have a direct knowledge of connection.
And that's when the gifts, the treasures of heaven, become visible.
Peace, innocence, unity, they're recognized as the mind opens up to shared meaning.
Proving that closeness is the actual truth. Closeness with each other and with God. The great distance we thought was real loses its hold as we accept that connection.
Thank you for joining us in this exploration today.
If anything we discussed resonated with you, or if you'd like to share how these ideas are appearing in your own life, we always welcome hearing from you.
Please feel free to write to us at acim@theworldharmonyproject.org.
We truly appreciate you being present with us on this journey. We look forward to exploring Lesson 345 with you tomorrow.